Okay, so I have someone that needs a little help, so I'm going to show you a few things. Before you sew your machine, you're going to want to put your pedal down. These are just some basic tips. But for those of you that need to make masks and don't know where to buy them, and you're using your material and you have a sewing machine and it's your first time using it, this is your foot pedal lever right here. So this will pull up your foot as needed. Okay, so you're going to want to place your foot pedal down before you start to sew. This right here, this knob on the side of your machine will push down your needle, and then you can pick your needle back up, and it will move this middle little button in here. This is what controls your needle. Okay, so say you're sewing, and I'm just going to leave mine on 2. My number 2, it shows you right here what each stitch does. The 12 through 16 is your button tool, or the 13 through 16, sorry, is your button tool. I do not use that. I've never used it, so I cannot tell you how to sew on a button with your sewing machine. I've always sewn them on by hand. But anyways, so I leave my dial on 2, and I will push my pedal down for you guys so you can see. So all you really want to do is you're going to want to hold your material with one hand, and you're going to help hold it in place. It's okay. I'm good. You're going to help hold it in place as you're sewing your machine. Okay. So this is just going to help hold your material. Say you mess up and you are done and your needle is stuck in your material and you don't know how to get it out. You can pick up your foot. That will release the pressure on your material, but your needle's still stuck. So what do? You use this twisty tool and you just turn it till your needle comes out. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull your thread all the way out. You can use a pair of scissors to cut it from your machine, but your machine does have its own little scissor tool right here. You're going to want to slice it and pull it out. Okay, so another thing is when your needle, you're going to want to make sure you always pull this bottom thread out, because if you don't, what's going to happen, it happens to me all the time because I always forget. If you don't pull this out, then when you try to sew and it's too close, it's going to come straight out of your needle and you're going to have to rethread your needle. Not your whole machine, but you'll have to rethread it. Sometimes it gets stuck right up in here. Sometimes it gets stuck down here, just depending. But a lot of the times it will just come right undone from right here. And you're going to want to try to remember to keep your thread in here in this little slot. For some reason, mine doesn't want to go right now, and I can't do it with one hand, but it's fine if it doesn't. It just holds your thread closer to your needle so you don't have a loose sew. So I'm going to show you what happens when, say you're making a mask and you bunch up your material. So I'm going to fold it over as if I was doing a crimp in a mask. Do you see my fold right there? Now this machine that I have is not a very, ow, I just closed my finger in. But it's not a very it doesn't have a thick needle to sew a bunch of material. So what might happen is it might get stuck. So you can hear it kind of struggling. It didn't get stuck, but if your material does get stuck and you're going over, I'm going to lump it again, you're going over this material right here. So I'm going to feed it a little bit and show you what I would do. Okay, say it's going to get stuck. Well, actually my thread came out. That's why it went. Okay, say it's going to get stuck, right? What happens if your needle gets stuck and your foot doesn't go? You can pull this lever a little bit as you're sewing and it will release the pressure that your foot is placing on your material, and it'll allow your material to feeder through versus it being stuck in the machine. So that's what you do when that happens. If your needle is stuck and your machine might actually even turn off, mine has done that, because your needle's going to break. When your material does not feeder through and you can hear your needle going over and over and over and your material won't go through, majority of the time it's because your needle's not strong enough to keep pushing your material through. So it could cause your needle to break. This part of your needle will get broken and you'll have to replace it. And how you replace a needle, this little lever right here, you unscrew it, and now your needle in the middle, you want to keep your foot down when you do this, your needle in the middle will come out. And I probably, oh yeah, I got it back in with one hand. So you just push it back in there when you place a new needle if your needle breaks, and you just tighten this till you don't want to make it super tight, but you can tighten it. And then that's how you replace your needle. So I'm going to end this video, and then I'm going to show you how to thread your bobbin.